It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 130. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, May 25th, 2025. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. I hope you're doing great out there in the world, wherever you are and whenever you're listening to this. Thank you so much for being here. The first order of business, however, is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast, so find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you would like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. All right, so this show that we have today is going to have three sections as always. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The mid section, which is not mid in quality, is all the video game news, information, releases, details that you need to know going on around the video game world. So it'll help you keep up to date and tuned in with what's going on with the video games. And the third and final section is a break from video games, is the Miscellaneous talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So I usually get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you about what's going on with all my favorite teams, and that will be the case today. And I have some great news to report on the sports front today, later on in the show. So, big teasers here. Big teasers for episode 130. So welcome to the show. I really do hope you're doing great out there in the world on this Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully you've had a hot dog already. Hopefully you've had a beer. Hopefully you've had some fun. Hopefully you have got some sun, but maybe not too much, just enough to get a nice little tan going. So, happy Memorial Day to you out there in the United States. And if you have a day off from work, shout out to you. That is good news according to me. All right, so what video games have I been playing? I have not made any progress on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I want to say that. I made a little bit of progress, I guess, just more resource gathering and cooking. So if a friend of the show, Pab, was listening, he would be so happy about that I was cooking up some dishes to sell. But I really did. I had like a full inventory of dishes already cooked. So I went through there and I was selling. I was reselling and selling and flipping and making all sorts of rupees out there in Hyrule. So I just want to, I know Pat would be extra proud about that. So that's kind of the main thing I've been doing in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and getting, need to get a move on over there. And Persona 3 Reload is another game I've been playing. I haven't made too much progress on that this week either, but I just want to shout out the music. I have now been bumping the Persona 3 soundtrack on Spotify a lot this week, so that is something I want to report. The soundtrack is there, and all the hits that you love from the game, you can listen to at your leisure. So very nice. So just want to shout out the Persona music always, and I've only played a little bit of this game this week, but I've listened to the soundtrack multiple times, so I just want to point that out. But the main game I've been playing this week is something I've been flirting with for the last few weeks, but I've played a good bit of it this week. And I have been doing a little bit of the flipping and the flopping of which save file to play, or which console, so jumping between Switch and PlayStation. So just, my dumbass over here owns this game on two platforms, and sometimes you just want to play it on the platform you're on. So Hollow Knight is the latest contender in the system battle on the Dep Lewis Show. But I do think I have switched over to the Switch on this one. So I think the Switch, this show is going to give you the insight on which is the best platform to play on. So I'm going to say the Switch maybe, because you can play in handheld mode. So I was playing some Hollow Knight sitting on the porch the other day. It was very enjoyable, and this game is very fun. I think the only really selling point for trying to play these games on the PlayStation is the controller. So the Switch, the Pro controller is nice. I think it's a hair below the PS5 controller and the Xbox Series X controller, and even the previous generations of controller for both of those platforms. I don't think it's a bad controller by any means, but there's just something a little bit lacking on the Pro controller for Nintendo that makes it a little bit of a downgrade from those other ones, according to me. But the Pro controller is definitely an upgrade from the Joy-Cons, and I think it's a really nice controller. I think there is a lot of good to say about it, but I think there's just something a little more special about the other ones. But either way, I'm playing this on the Switch. You can't play your PlayStation 5 in handheld unless you have a PlayStation Portal, and that has to run off streaming internet connection, so that's not really ideal. So if you want to play some Hollow Knight sitting on your porch, unless you want to drag your TV out there in your system, you got to play it on the Switch. Well, you don't have to play it on the Switch. I guess you can play it on the Steam Deck, but you get what I'm saying over here. It's been a pretty fun handheld game. So in Hollow Knight so far, I've been making progress. So this is a game I've played in the past, never really got too far. And I'm farther than I've been in that game now. So I've taken down the False Knight. I guess he's the first kind of boss in the game. It was a very fun fight. There was 3 stages to it. Even after the 3rd stage, it makes it seem like you're going to have to fight him for another stage, but he ends up just kind of faltering and falling and flipping down into the world. So he kind of crash lands through this big giant knight, and he loses his armor. So you can actually, his armor is just laying there on the battlefield, and you can go up to and smack it, and it makes a nice like armor tin sound or whatever. And then after you defeat the false knight, the next step I took was to go into this other area where you talk to this kind of strange dude. He's kind of a ghostly looking fellow, and you talk to him. He gives you a new power, which is very nice of him, but then he also locks you into an area that you can't leave until you complete. So he says, hey, I gave you a new power, but I also locked you into this area, and now you need to go defeat the giant beast at the end. So I ended up doing this. You go through, the giant beast at the end is actually an enemy that you've seen before but have not been able to defeat. So that should trigger in your brain that you need to go back to the other section right after this. So that's kind of what I did. So you defeat the guy. You have your new power where you can shoot your souls. You can harness your souls and shoot out a big beam to attack your enemy. So not only can you heal yourself from your souls, you can shoot energy out at the enemies, and it's actually a pretty powerful move and very nice. And I think you can jump and actually do it, so that might help me to shoot some enemies in some areas that I couldn't potentially reach before. And it also allowed me to go defeat that enemy back in the world that I saw previously, and it opens a whole new area that I've never seen before. It's the grasslands, and kind of like reminds me of the second territory in Spelunky. So you're going from the first mines to the second kind of grassland. So Hollow Knight is building out his map around me, and I think that's pretty cool. So I think the first section of this game has done a great job of being a tutorial without showing you it's a tutorial at all. So I want to commend it for that. And I think the combat is really fun. I think that the simplicity of it is fun, but they're adding some new mechanics on top of it, like being able to shoot now. But the basic sword combat is fun, and the main gist of the combat I've found is kind of like somewhat of a rhythm. So you need to kind of see how the enemies are going to attack you, and really it's just more of a timing based thing on, hitting X to execute your attack, and you have to hit it and then kind of, maybe wait a second and hit it again. And sometimes you can just kind of kill an enemy back to back to back by doing so. So there's a fun like rhythm to the combat, even though it's simple. I think the world is extremely cool. It's fun to jump around. One of my notes here, I say I really want to get a double jump in this game. I know it's coming at some point, and I will be very excited for it because that's going to make it even more fun to traverse around this world. But jumping around with the Hollow Knight's fun. Smacking people in the face with your sword is fun. Having my new combo to shoot things is fun, and even exploring in this game is fun. So the characters you meet, not everybody is a enemy, so there's some friendlies around the world, which is nice. There's some map ability around the world, which is nice. There's kind of like a hub area you can go back to and take a reprieve from the action. So Hollow Knight has really thought of a lot of great things. I'm beginning to see a lot of the hype and a lot of the affinity people hold for this game, and I'm starting to understand it myself. So I've been having a whole lot of fun with Hollow Knight this week, and I anticipate myself keep continuing to play this some. This is a good game for me to challenge myself a little bit in some combat, since I've been playing a lot of RPGs. I think it's a good game to have in the mix for that, and we have the upcoming Silk Song sometime this year, so it would be great to be a little more strong on my Hollow Knighting. So you also do see the character. I don't know if it's the same character from Silk Song, but when I got to the grasslands, I believe it was, you see a character that looks like that Silk Song character. So there are some connections here. So Hollow Knight, I guess it really is, now thinking about it, it really is like ever expanding from that very beginning point. So it's kind of doing a Breath of the Wild and like a Metroidvania. So it's very impressive, very fun to play, and that has really been the main game I've been playing this week on the Nintendo Switch, that is. So very fun. I'm trying to see if I have any other notes. Yeah, I took down the False Knight, so GG to you, to False Knight. Took you down, and I'll be taking down many more of your friends here to come in the future in Hollow Knight. So that's been the main game I've been playing this week, and another game I booted up over the weekend that I've been playing has been The Last of Us Part 1. So one of my favorite games of all time. Getting back into that a little bit just for the hell of it, and having some fun with that, and being reminded that how much I love this game. So I haven't played these games since they both released. So just thinking to myself, hey, it'd be nice to have these downloaded still and jump back into them and just see how they hold up. And if they're my favorite games of all time, I should be able to go back in there and have some fun. And that has been the exact case with doing this. So I'm back in The Last of Us Part 1. I'm watching the cutscenes still. I'm doing a little more of exploring around the world and checking things out. Taking it slow since I don't really have any timetable or anything on trying to complete this, and just having some fun. In this game, I'm going to be interested to, I say Last of Us 2 is the best game of all time and better than Last of Us 1, and I still think that's the case, but I guess this will be somewhat of a good experiment to see if it changes my mind at all. But having Joel back as the lead character is very nice, and the opening intro to this game, the setup and everything is extremely fun, and I'm getting into the combat area now, so I just got a shiv. They're just teaching you about some of the stealth stuff. I just got to a section where you can choose to go stealth or choose to not go stealth, so most of the time I'm probably going to not be going stealth or trying stealth for a bit and then getting seen and end up going into combat is most likely how it would go for me, but you never know. And I'm also playing this game on normal. I think I've played this game previous on easy would be my guess. I'm normally kind of an easy game player. I think I'm transitioning more to playing games on normal these days, and who knows where the future will take me. But if I'm playing a game most of the time these days, I'm starting it on normal. So that is a little bit of a bump up for me, trying to get back here on the average Joe side of gaming and get my skills up. So I've been playing some Last of Us. My notes on that are graphics, story, characters, and dialogue are amazing. Controls are great too. So much stuff to look around at in the world that's impressive. Everything is visually impressive. The backgrounds, the opening section when you're in the city, and you can see the two skyscrapers. You can see the one skyscraper that has fallen over, leaning against another upstanding skyscraper, and eventually, if you play this game, you get to that area in the game. So just kind of a cool foreshadowing and setup kind of thing, and a perspective thing that you see this thing early on in the game, and later on in the game you're actually going to be in that building and be doing some like incredible set piece stuff. So this game, I'm pretty sure it holds up, and just kind of the loop of this game. You have the outside areas that are extremely beautiful. You get into the buildings that are extremely scary and harrowing. Is that a word? Harrowing. Maybe that's the word, harrowing. But you get in these buildings and they're extremely scary. You have the spore sections where you have to wear a gas mask over your face so you're not getting attacked by the spores. You have these crazy enemies. You also have human enemies. You have small areas. You have jump scares. So you're inside these buildings. It's feeling very suffocating. And then when you get out into the world, it's some like very beautiful scenery, even if it's post-apocalyptic. So it's like a really extremely nice contrast, and the game looks visually beautiful. I'm still playing the PlayStation 4 enhanced version. There is a PlayStation 5 version, but there's no path to upgrade your PS4 enhanced version to somehow get the PS5 one. So I would have to buy a whole new copy of the game, and it's probably a moot point of the upgrades, even though it would be nice to be playing this in the best version possible. But, hey, it's not necessary is what I'm thinking. So I might, if I end up going to play some more of The Last of Us 2, I might pay for the upgrade there, since I do have the version that is able to be upgraded. So I could pay $10 and get the official highfalutin bells and whistles Last of Us 2 version if I wanted to, and if I do end up getting to there, that's what I'll probably do. But the PS4 remastered version is running perfectly fine. I just did change it to frame rate mode, I was running on the performance side of things and decided to change it to frame rate as soon as I saw a little bit of some frame rate dip stuff in some combat. So I changed it to frame rate mode, and I think it was a good trade-off. So that's what I would recommend in this game if you're playing on the PlayStation 5. Alright, so what else did I say about The Last of Us 2? Yeah, the gunplay is very cool. Getting the gun is a very cool moment in this game. Upgrading your gun is very cool. The tool bench is really, really cool. I'm reminded by that, and I like how realistic some of that stuff is with how outlandish some of the stuff in this world is as well. So it's just a extremely great mix. I think it's kind of, I'm comparing in my mind right now a little bit to The Walking Dead. I love how in that series they deal with the outlandish, but based in some sort of reality, and The Last of Us 2 does an incredible job at that. And just shout out to Naughty Dog, one of my favorite developers, one of my favorite games, and it's been a pleasure to be it's been my pleasure, like I'm a Chick-fil-A worker, diving back into this game this week. And I'm just going to play it as I see fit, and something I can jump into, almost like a comfort game, I guess, for me, playing The Last of Us, since it's one of my favorite games. It's been just super nice to jump back into it, and I probably need to do that a little more often with some of these games that I really love. So been playing some Hollow Knight, been playing some Last of Us Part 1, and that has really been the main thing, besides a little bit of Zelda Breath of the Wild, trying to keep up with that, and Persona 3 Reload, basically just trying to listen to the music in that game and go through and complete a few days, and just really outstanding video game. So for me, that's everything I've been playing. It's been the year of no direction for which video game style or type or decisions I'm trying to make, but the only direction I have is I would like to complete The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So that is the main thing on my to-do list. Other than that, I'm basically waiting on the Switch 2 and playing things in my backlog, which I have a lot, which I'm very thankful for, and having a lot of fun with some games, some new games to me, and playing some old favorites. So that's what's been going on with me in my video game world. over here on this Memorial Day weekend in the United States. So I really can't think of anything else to say that I need to update you on my video gaming. I think in the upcoming week it's going to be a little bit of the same. I don't have any grand video game plans in the upcoming week. Just making some progress on these video games. About 2 weeks until the Switch 2 launches, and then you will catch me playing a lot of Mario Kart out here and continuing to play some more The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the upgraded Switch 2 version. So very excited about that. So that's everything going on with me. I'm going to wrap up this first section, and we're going to come back from the mid-section where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know so you don't want to miss it. So go take a quick break, and I'll be back after this music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 130. This is where I tell you about what is going on around the video game world that you need to know. So I want to start off with some video games, give you some update on those, and let's get into it. Helldivers 2 has a new update. In Helldivers 2, if you don't know about it, you can fight for freedom across a hostile galaxy in this frenetic third-person cooperative team shooter. It's out on PlayStation 5 and Microsoft Windows. It initially released in February 2024. The standard version is $39.99 US, and it's on sale right now. If you're listening in real time, or for a little bit, it's on sale for 20%, so $31.99 on PlayStation Network I saw until June 5th, so just a little bit of an update there. And then the update for Helldivers 2 is the Heart of Democracy official update is available now. So the update, this is what they're saying, the back of the box talk on the Heart of Democracy for Helldivers 2. Helldivers, it's time to defend the Heart of Democracy. Fight back against the Illuminate. I don't know. See, I haven't played Helldivers, so I meant to look that up. Is it Illuminate or Illuminate? I'm going to call them the Illuminate. On the streets of Super Earth, the worst nightmare of all those who fight for managed democracy has been made a grim reality. Despite the valiant efforts of our Helldivers to push back the fleet, the Illuminate have reached Super Earth. Now they are swarming our cities, terrorizing citizens and destroying our infrastructure. It's time to rise up and take arms and fight for the precious foundations of the soil of democracy manifest. Helldivers, return to our planet and defend what is rightfully ours. So, a new update in Helldivers 2. I've heard this game is extremely fun. Something I've been tempted to play many times, but I haven't been doing too much online shooting these days. But Helldivers 2 seems like an incredible video game, and this seems like a substantial update, so I wanted to bring that to your attention today on the Dep Lewis Show, episode 130. Another game that I've mentioned in the past few weeks, but I just want to mention that this DLC is officially released, and that is Sea of Stars, is the video game, and it has a new DLC called The Throes of the Watchmaker. It's a free DLC that launched this week, and it is available now as a free download. If you have Sea of Stars, or if you're looking to get into Sea of Stars, there's now more content available in that package, so that's a very nice thing. Sea of Stars is a journey of peril and wonder, and it awaits in this classic-inspired turn-based RPG. It is available for pretty much all platforms, PlayStation 5 and 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Microsoft Windows. It is $34.99 US for the standard base game, and it is also on sale, I saw on the PlayStation Network, until June 12th. So another update of some sales going on. If you're listening in real time, it might help you out with some of these video games. So Sea of Stars is on sale until June 12th, 35% off, and is $22.74. So a pretty good value there for this video game, and something I've played maybe 5 to 10 hours of and had some enjoyment. I've heard a lot of people, and I guess even in their own description, equate this to a classic RPG with some modern touches. So I think that's a good representation of this video game, and I think it is a cool thing. I think it's them trying something new, a new franchise or series type of thing, and I think that is very interesting. So Sabotage Studio is the developer, and the free DLC is available right now, Throes of the Watchmaker. And Throes of the Watchmaker sends Solstice Warriors, Valerie and Zale, so those are the two protagonists from the main game, on a side adventure into the miniature clockwork world of Horloge, where a cursed carnival threatens its innocent denizens. To survive, they'll need to play by unfamiliar rules and confront not only the mischievous puppeteer and her minions, but also their own darker traits. So this is also, if Pab is still listening out there, friend of the show, this is also a game I had 2 files going on at one point, because this game was available on Game Pass, so I started it there. And then I also purchased this game on Nintendo Switch. So just a future note to myself, if I want to make any more progress on Sea of Stars, I think I should do so on the Nintendo Switch, just for the handheld aspects. It runs perfectly fine on there. This is a beautiful looking game, and another game with some great music in it. So Sea of Stars has a free DLC available right now, Throes of the Watchmaker. So go update your game, I believe is all you need to do there if you are a current owner of this game, and it's on sale right now too if you want to buy it. So Sea of Stars, go check it out. All right, what else is going on? What other video games are out there? in the universe and happening and releasing and tempting people to buy them. One of those is called Onimusha 2, Samurai's Destiny. So this is a remake of a game from 2002 on the PlayStation 2. I really can't speak to how much of an update this is on the video game, but it's a new release. So now available, Onimusha 2, Samurai's Destiny for PlayStation 5 and 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. So running the full gamut there besides Nintendo Switch. This game is $29.99 US dollars, so nice to see not a full price game option out here in the world. Developed and published by Capcom, and released on May 22nd, 2025, so just a couple days ago if you're listening in real time. And in Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny, you can reclaim your own destiny. Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny returns with higher resolution graphics and modernized controls to perform Isen. So I believe that is the ability of the wielders to perform a fast evade and counterattack. So I hope that's how you say it, Isen or Isen, I-S-S-E-N, which are critical counterattacks and intense swordplay. So experience the dramatic revenge story set in feudal Japan. So we've been getting a lot of feudal Japan high-profile games these days. So I think that could be a little bit oversaturation point there. But this is a game from the past getting a upgrade to it. So some graphics and modernized controls. So it is a remaster of sorts. But, I don't have any history with Onimusha. We have Shinobi coming out later this year. So a couple games that are a little bit in the same category to me for whatever reason. And definitely cool to look at, interesting, something I can see myself playing in the future, possibly on a sale or, some kind of discounted sale in the future with one of these games. But they definitely look cool, so I want to bring them to your attention here on the show today. So that's Onimusha 2, Samurai's Destiny. All right, what else is going on? All right, this game released, Monster Train 2, something I didn't really, not familiar with the first game too much, but this second game released on May 21st, 2025 for PlayStation 5 and 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Microsoft Windows. It's developed by Shiny Shoe and published by Big Fan Games, so a whole lot of stuff here I'm not familiar with, but, slowly learning, I guess. Monster Train 2 is $24.99 US dollars. Monster Train returns with all new clans, new enemy factions, new challenges, new modes, and more. Defend your pyre and the classic 3-tiered vertical gameplay that made the original roguelike deck builder a hit. So that is the statement you need to know. This is a roguelike deck builder. So something, I like roguelike games and I like deck builders, but I don't think I've really enjoyed a combination of one yet. And the only one that's popping into my mind that I tried was Slay the Spire, but I know a lot of people love Slay the Spire. I believe there's a sequel to that game, and this seems a little bit in the same vein to me, but something that I could see myself playing in the future, but is not immediately tempting me to do so. But Monster Train 2, there are powerful beings known as Titans have seized control of heaven. A makeshift alliance is formed between former angels and demons who must learn to work together against their common foe. Now you must command these clans aboard newly forged trains and embark on your journey through hell, heaven, and the abyss to defeat the Titans before they destroy this world. Chaos awaits beyond the gates. Monster Train 2, there's also a Balatro collaboration, which is very nice to see since Balatro is an extremely cool video game and something I'm a big fan of. And Balatro's mascot Jimbo and at least 6 Jokers will appear in the roguelike title. So Monster Train 1 released in 2020 and is on iOS. So this Monster Train 2 release is not currently on iOS, but I would anticipate that as something coming. I don't know if they mentioned that, but I would think this would be a perfect game for iOS. So it seems like they're getting it out on the main platforms first. Well, I don't know if I want to say main platforms, but the console platforms first, and then maybe they are working on the iOS mobile version on the back end, would be my guess. So speaking of that, another game that has returned to the mobile side of things is Fortnite. So the next bit of news here is Fortnite is now playable again on iOS. The last time this happened was August 2020 before the removal. So Apple had to relent under court pressure to allow Fortnite back. So there was a legal battle going on in regards to Fortnite being on iOS. Epic Games can now sell in-app currency on Fortnite's iOS version without commission. So no skimming off the top, no middleman money here. And that was the big argument. So these are really talking some high numbers here with things being purchased for Fortnite on any platform is going to be very high numbers. And I could see why they would want to be getting their cut. And I could see why they would not want to be giving up the cut. So just some really high-end business dealings here. So in Fortnite, if you've never heard of this game, if you live under 93 rocks, you can be the last player standing in Battle Royale, Zero Build, Reload, and Fortnite OG. Explore LEGO Fortnite experiences, blast to the finish with rocket racing, or headline a concert with Fortnite Festival. So a free-to-play game, very fun. Been a lot of Star Wars stuff going on in this game. I've been tempted to play. I'm a friend of the show. friend of the show, Sanfi, has been wanting to play some Fortnite, so there could be some Fortnite in my near future. So now playable on iOS. I can't say I want to try it out on iOS, but I think it's a very cool option, and I think a lot of people will take advantage of this. I think most of my friends these days would play a phone game over a console game, so I don't know if that speaks just to the world in general, but I am an older gamer. My friends are older gamers, and they are into the mobile side of things. So I think the younger gamers, I think I'm kind of saying I think I'm the odd man out here a little bit on this one, but that is something, I'm used to being an odd man, and sometimes even being an odd man out. So that's how it is over here on the Dep Lewis Show. All right, what else do I got for you on the news? This next one is a highlight of the midsection this week because it is preposterous. It is insane. It's ludicrous. This one it's just hard to imagine these words come out of people's mouths. So Borderlands 4 is an upcoming video game. It's going to release on September 12th, 2025. It is a mayhem-fueled looter shooter jam-packed with billions of weapons, deadly enemies, and intense co-op action. Break free from a dangerous hidden planet as one of our 4 new badass vault hunters. It's developed by Gearbox Software and published by 2K Games for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Microsoft Windows. And the CEO of Gearbox Software had a comment this week. He had an interaction with a fan. So this is how it went. So Randy Pitchford, CEO of Gearbox Software, a fan says to him, "Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increase of the price tag. You are the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher." And Randy Pitchford, CEO of Gearbox Software, came back and said, A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis and for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. So I just want to say just a boneheaded comment here, from Randy Pitchford, in my opinion, saying a little bit of, there's some, back in my day, a little bit of not my problem in there, a little bit of figure it out, and just what a terrible message to send as a CEO of the company. And I think they had another post from their social media after this that was highlighting the value that this game is going to bring for $80. And I mean, what a layup of a pitch there to tell these people. You just have to say, hey, we really believe our game is worth this $80 price tag. We're excited for you to see this upon release, and we really want to deliver on that promise to you. Something like that. Besides saying that, hey, if you're a real fan, you're going to find a way to make it happen. I think that is ludicrous. I think you're missing the mark. I think you're a little bit out of touch there. I think you're a lot of bit out of touch there. And I even think with Borderlands, I think you should be a little more, what is the word? A little more apprehensive that this game is going to be successful. I think Borderlands has been on a downward trend. I think it's something people would like to see come back. I don't think it's a guarantee that people are going to be flocking to Borderlands. I think it's been a long time coming since Borderlands has been popular. The movie was a giant flop. I don't know what young people think about Borderlands as a franchise, and it might just be older gamers like me that have some type of reverence for Borderlands but aren't necessarily looking for more of it. So I think it's a bonehead stance to take, that to come out here so cocky, as I would say this interaction from Randy Pitchford was. I can see the fan statement there is not in a nice manner. I don't love the way that the fan is addressing Randy, but you would think as a CEO of the company, you would be equipped to handle that and not to take the bait there. But, the fan saying, Randy, this game better not be $80, and that's kind of rude. I don't think you should be just saying, hey, this is what you should do. But I think his next sentiment is okay. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increase of the price tag. And I think that part is extremely true. You are the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher. And I think that is true too. You don't have the final say. I don't think you can make all the decisions, but you can definitely put up a stink. You are you are the top guy on one half of this deal going on here between a developer and publisher. So I think you have some say, and to say it is not your call, I think that's a huge cop out too. So just like I was saying, just a boneheaded response here. I think Randy Pitchford has been criticized a lot in the past. I don't have any specifics as to why I would criticize him myself, but I think he is I guess he just likes to, I don't know, I think I was about to say run his mouth, but I think he's made a lot of statements out here that have garnered a lot of criticism. I don't know if there's been any type of business practices have been shady or anything like that, but I just think this is a boneheaded comment at the least here. So that's just what I want to highlight here. And I think you should, if you're offended by this, you definitely don't have to buy Borderlands 4. That would be a good way to combat this. And really the only thing that you can do, or the only thing you should do about it, And if the game is good and you want to buy it, I think that's great. But I think they have some proving to do before coming out here and saying, hey, give us your $80. So I think they should be taking a little bit of the high road here and, have be a little bit humble out here. So, sit down and be humble over here, Borderlands 4. I think you have a tall task here for being successful. And, I would like you to be successful because, why not? I wish success around the world to many, many people and many, many things. And, I'm not any type of hater out here. So I think this is just kind of a dumb thing and something that was definitely wanted to talk about this week. So Borderlands 4, proceed with caution there. Their CEO's out there making some crazy statements, and I think you should be careful with your money out here in all situations. And then especially if someone's kind of out here taunting you about your money, I think you should really, really take that into consideration. So that is my opinion on the Borderlands 4 Randy Pitchford situation going on out there in the world. All right. So what else? So there's a lot of video game updates and news this week on games that have been released and that are upcoming. So Stellar Blade, another video game that's currently available on PlayStation 5 and coming to PC June 11th, 2025. So we just got that news in the last few weeks. And the bit of news from this week, however, is Stellar Blade is going to have a sequel. So that has been, I guess, technically confirmed. It hasn't been technically announced, but it has been confirmed in media and the news reports from the Korean developer Shift Up via a chart showing the company's future plans published as part of its latest financial results release. So when these companies do their financial results, they're available to the public. So people were able to go look at their presentation and see that this information was listed on there. So I guess everything is subject to change, but according to Shift Up at this point, they are expecting Stellar Blade sequel to release sometime before 2027. So that is right around the time where we're going to really start hearing all the talks about, hey, is the next version of the PlayStation 6 coming, the next version of the Xbox console coming. I think that is about the time where those radars are going to be really, really going up. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on there in 2027. But as far as right now, Stellar Blade available on PS5, something I would like to play more of, something I played the demo of and really enjoyed. And it is coming to PC on June 11th, 2025. And the Stellar Blade sequel is coming before 2027 is the news there from the Korean developer Shift Up. And if you don't know about Stellar Blade, you can save humanity from extinction in this post-apocalyptic action-adventure. Stellar Blade experience blistering combat and a twisting storyline as you unravel the mysteries of Earth's downfall. And the original release of that, I don't know if I mentioned, was April 2024. So that is the news update on Stellar Blade. All right, another game that released for Xbox Series X and S and Microsoft Windows of May 2024 was Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. So this was I guess it was kind of I don't want to say a lead dog for Microsoft, but this is one of their early games after they made a ton of acquisitions that they released that, hey, this is one of our first party games we're releasing, and it was on Game Pass day one. So a little bit of a big deal in that regard. I'm not too familiar with Hellblade 1, so I don't have any reverence for that game, but I think there was definitely a strong contingent of people that were excited for Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. This game released in May 2024, and currently it's $49.99 US as the price now showing on Steam. Developer Ninja Theory, published by Xbox Game Studios, and this game is the sequel to the award-winning Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Senua returns in a brutal journey of survival through the myth and torment of Viking Iceland, intent on saving those who have fallen victim to the horrors of tyranny. Senua faces a battle of overcoming the darkness within and without. So the news here on Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is that this game is coming to PS5. So we've been seeing this a lot with Xbox video games coming over to PlayStation, and this is another entry into that category. So Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 coming to PlayStation 5 this summer. No specific date yet, but summer 2025. It's going to be an enhanced edition with new features, and upon this release, these extra features will also arrive as a free update on other platforms. So I just want to point that out for anybody out there who is excited for this. I gotta say, from seeing the footage of this game and the whole back of the box talk on it, I could not be more not interested in this game. It looks very brutal, and there's some gore stuff, and just very stressful of a game, and just really, really didn't sell me in any way to try it out. But just want to mention that this is another. I find it interesting all these Xbox games coming to other platforms and the cadence for when they do so and the timing, and just want to point that one out here on the show today. So Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 coming to PlayStation 5 sometime summer 2025. All right, a little bit of a quick. Let's see here. A couple quick hits on some video games here before some studio news. And that first one, so the first one is Cyberpunk 2027, a game that released December of 2020. There has been a little bit of news on the sequel here. So Cyberpunk 2077 will celebrate its 5th anniversary later this year, and the currently untitled sequel may still be years away. So developer CD Projekt Red and Mike Pondsmith, he's the creator of the Cyberpunk franchise, has hinted that the Cyberpunk 2077 sequel will include a second city. So Mike Pondsmith has said, I spent a lot of time talking to one of my environment guys, and he was explaining how the new place, because there's another city that we visit, and I'm not telling you any more than that, but there's another city that we visit. Night City is still there. So a little bit of interesting tidbits. I was along for the ride of the Cyberpunk journey when it initially got released and initially got panned and then was updated about a year or two later. And there was people that liked it early on, but people were really liking it after the updates. And it has just had a strange history over there. So it had a lot of hype. I think it was disappointing to a lot of people, but I think it's built up some of that goodwill and hype back. So just a kind of a roller coaster journey over there for Cyberpunk 2077, and something I could see myself playing more of in the future, but nothing too immediate. But looks like there's a sequel coming. I think they need to really make sure that sequel is cooked and ready to go before they release it, and I think that would be very smart to do. So whatever their development time is, I think they should times it by at least 1.5 and call it a day over there for the CD Projekt Red crew. All right, this one's interesting. Avowed, a video game that released early this year. Another success, I would say, for Xbox, because it was an initial Xbox and PC release. It released on February 18th, 2025, so just a few months ago. And Avowed is a first-person fantasy RPG set in the world of Eora, where your choices carve a path through war, intrigue, and ancient mysteries, navigate a land in turmoil, forge powerful alliances or deadly rivalries, and wield magic and steel to shape the fate of the living lands and your own destiny. So the news here on Avowed is the director, Kerry Patel, has left Obsidian and is going to Netflix Games. So I just find that interesting. I kind of wonder what that speaks to the success of Avowed. I wonder if this is also possibly just a one-off. Maybe the director, Kerry Patel, has been at Obsidian for a long time, and this is some type of great opportunity to go over to Netflix, but I think is an interesting take nonetheless. I think Avowed came out to some success, but I don't know how much of a splash it really made. It kind of seems to me like more of a, I don't want to call it a tech demo, but more of a good, I don't know, maybe I'll just say it like a good first try. I think a lot of people touted that the game wasn't as long as other games, open world games are, so it wasn't as long or as an expansive an experience. And I think a lot of people were saying that in a positive fashion, but I think it could also be something with this day and age that if you're going to release a game, it's going to be successful, it's going to have some longevity, you really got to have some good depth to it. And maybe Avowed was just kind of lacking on the depth, but maybe it was, kind of a good test case. I think that's something that these studios sometimes need to realize, and I guess Obsidian maybe does, but maybe Kerry Patel doesn't, maybe they didn't want Kerry Patel to continue on. Who knows here? There's a lot of different situations, but I just find it interesting because Avowed seems to me like it's a good point where they could really put a lot of work into a sequel and really come out with something. The sequel in this scenario could be the big kind of landmark for Avowed. And I think sometimes you have to shoot your shot out there, and they shot their shot with Avowed, and I think they did a lot of good things, and I think there could be things to go back to the drawing board with there. And so I just find it interesting the director is leaving immediately, but who knows? People leave jobs all the time. I don't know anything about the history of her career path or anything like that, and I don't really know why going to Netflix Games would be advantageous at this point because I don't know much about Netflix Games. But to me, the trade-off from going to Obsidian to Netflix seems like a bad one, but there could be some type of payday. I guess Netflix is probably trying to grow their games division in some way. They're probably handing out some bags of money, but I don't know what video games I would equate to Netflix Games to have any reverence in my mind for Netflix Games. But interesting nonetheless. Avowed is available right now if you want to go try it out. I've heard some good things about it, but they are going to have a new director if there is going to be a sequel. All right. So I talked about some Last of Us early on in the show. It's something I've jumped back into this week, and I wonder if it's because I was reading all these Neil Druckmann quotes and some Naughty Dog news this week. So Neil Druckmann has a quote from the past week, and he says, "There's another game that's being worked on in Naughty Dog where I'm more of a producer role and I get to mentor and watch this other team and give feedback and be like an executive in the room. I enjoy all those roles." So is this possibly a new Last of Us, a new Jak and Daxter, or something else? We know that Naughty Dog is developing Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, which is supposed to be out in 2026, but it also seems like they are developing something alongside of that. So I find that to be exciting, as I'm a little bit lukewarm on the Intergalactic Heretic Prophet. I think I have a lot of trust in Naughty Dog, but this one is just, they are going a little bit off the, I don't know, just maybe not into sci-fi as much, maybe just wasn't into the stuff they were showing. But I think it would be a good guess that I'm going to enjoy the game, but I just have a little bit of apprehension for whatever reason. I'm really just not sure. I don't know if it's just the style of the setting, or a little bit of, my fandom for Last of Us really makes me want to play some more Last of Us, and I do love Uncharted. So, having the new IP coming from a developer, I love the games they already make. But then again, you also want them to be able to make new stuff. So you can't really have it both ways. And I think if I had to pick, I would want them to develop something new and try something new, even if it's not my cup of tea. I think that is the proper way for this creative development team to move forward. I don't think you want to just be stuck in doing something. I think you want to take care with your franchises, but I think it's important also to try to develop some new things if you can. So I think that's important, and I'm not poo-pooing or talking down on any of that from Intergalactic. I just don't. I don't have to sign up immediately for these things that cost a lot of money out here, and you don't have to either. So even if it's your beloved studio that you would say is one of your favorite studios. So that's a little bit of my feelings on that so far, but I am super excited. I would love a Last of Us 3. I would love a Last of Us 3 even if it goes to a different direction. Well, I say that. I would be there day one to try it out, and I would have some apprehension there too, just from how much I love 1 and 2. I think having 3, I think there's a lot of potential for it not to be as good, but that is a risk I'd be willing to take, and I do have a lot of trust in Naughty Dog. So interesting stuff going on there, and I will definitely be keeping you up to date with anything going on with Naughty Dog, and I am tapped in and tuned in expeditiously. All right, so love some Naughty Dog. All right, the last couple things here for this midsection of the show today. A couple updates, some kind of console updates things. So Xbox had a May update, which is bringing retro classics to Xbox Game Pass. So very cool and interesting thing there. A variety of new updates are available this month across our gaming platforms coming today. Retro classic games are available to play for Xbox Game Pass members. Retro Classics is a collaboration between Xbox and Antstream Arcade, available to play for Game Pass members globally. Starting today, so this already happened, Game Pass members can dive into a collection of 50-plus classic Activision games from the 80s and 90s, including beloved titles like Commando, Grand Prix Kaboom, MechWarrior 2, 31st Century Combat, and Pitfall. This initiative is a step in our commitment to game preservation and backwards compatibility, allowing players to experience many timeless games on modern devices. So I think this is extremely cool. There's a big argument out there in the world, and I think it's very true, that the price of retro video games are very high and sometimes pricing people out and just not affordable. So having the ability to have like a Netflix style of games, of classic games, is very cool. I think a lot of people enjoy that on Nintendo Switch Online, and I think this is a very good move on Microsoft's part to kind of follow suit, to have some of these retro games available in a Netflix style setting. I think ideally it would be fun to be able to buy these games in an ad hoc fashion so you could own them as a one-off, but I think this is cool. I don't know too much about the collection of video games here, but I just think it's a nice thing. It's an addition to your Game Pass subscription. People could say, hey, they're adding things that are going to run up the price of Game Pass, but I think the price of Game Pass is going to get run up over the course of time anyways, so I think that's just the way these things go. But Xbox has some retro classics coming to Game Pass, and I think that is a nice addition to the lineup. All right. So the one other thing I want to talk about before we talk about just our Nintendo Switch 2 placeholder is PlayStation Stars. So this is a promotion that PlayStation was doing for a long time and is actually coming to a close as Sony Interactive Entertainment evaluates new ways to evolve future loyalty program efforts. So PlayStation.blog had a post on May 21st by Grace Chen, Vice President, Network Advertising, Loyalty, and Licensed Merchandise. So basically, PlayStation Stars is coming to an end. They're going to look for some type of new platform in the future to do something similar, but I just find it interesting to hear the way they present these cancellations to the public. So we're going to read through some of the stuff in the blog post here from Grace Chen about PlayStation Stars. So they say, at Sony Interactive, we're always experimenting with new and exciting ways to bring our community of players together to share the joys of gaming and create lasting memories. That's why 3 years ago we created PlayStation Stars, a loyalty program to celebrate our players. This unique program includes playing games to earn rewards, including our unique digital collectibles that pay homage to incredible games and our PlayStation legacy. This program has helped foster a deeper connection with fans around the world. Since launching the program, we've learned a lot from evaluating the type of activities our players respond best to, and as a company, we're always evolving with players and industry trends. Through this evaluation, we have decided to refocus our efforts and will be winding down the current version of PlayStation Stars. We will continue to evaluate our key findings from this program and are looking into ways to build upon these learnings. So I'm going to tell you what I think about these things in a bit, what I think these companies should do, and give you my 2 cents, but here's more from Grace Chen about PlayStation Stars. Here are some key things to know as these changes take place. Starting today, PlayStation Stars will no longer accept new members for this version of the program. If members choose to cancel their PlayStation Stars membership today, it will not be possible to rejoin this version of the program. Members will lose all earned points. Current PlayStation Stars members can still earn digital collectibles points and level up their status until July 23rd, 2025. After this date, there will be no new PlayStation Stars campaign available or any additional rewards or status benefits to earn. This version of the PlayStation Stars program will fully end on November 2nd, 2026, and current PlayStation Stars members can continue to redeem points as long as their points don't expire before then. We also want to let you know that PlayStation Stars members can still access their digital collectibles even after these changes take place. We want to thank all of our PlayStation players for supporting PlayStation Stars since launch in 2022. As we explore new ways to evolve our loyalty programs further for the future, we'll continue to celebrate all of our players through the various community activities we have planned. The programs we create are all inspired by you. We look forward to bringing you compelling new experiences for many generations to come. So, oh my gosh, so many words in that blog post. There was way more than that, and all that to say the program is canceled. I don't think anyone's upset the program's canceled. I don't think anybody was having a great time utilizing it. I think it was a little bit confusing. I think that nobody really wants digital collectibles. I think the only thing people can want from some type of reward program would be some cash back. If you buy a digital game, give us, $3 off the next one or something, and be able to build a balance from buying your digital games, kind of like Nintendo was doing and they canceled it. I think that is really the only thing people are going to want from these rewards programs. I don't think you need to put some type of interactive layer on top of it that puts stuff on the UI or allows you to get digital stuff. I think people just want cash back or discounts. I think that's all that people really care about from these things. So I think if you want to make some type of simple, straightforward program, I think that would be the smartest move you can do if you want to some goodwill out here in the community. I mean, you had to make this giant blog post saying all these millions of things here, which no one is really making no difference. I think these things are overcomplicated. I think these things are a little bit pointless, and I think these things are not even useful. So I think it's a lot of fluff. I think it's a lot of filler with these reward programs. I think it's the same thing on Xbox. I don't enjoy using their reward program, so I think it is a pretty useless thing all around. I think if people are creating these things and people aren't using them, I don't know why people are doing them. So people could say the same thing for this podcast. I do it every week and not a lot of people listen, but I think maybe that's a little bit of an apples and oranges comparison. But since the main product here is the podcast and their main product is, video games and the platform and just providing those to you, I don't think any of these extra incentives, I think they're just to get you tied into the platform. And I don't even think they're doing a good job of getting you tied into the platform with these extra incentive programs. So that's my take on the PlayStation Stars. Maybe somebody was having some enjoyment with it out there. I think I joined it. I don't think I ever checked it. I don't think I may not have ever even joined it. So I really can't say. I really don't have any desire to go look into it. And that is kind of my overall take. And I imagine that is most people's opinion on these type of programs on these platforms. So that is my 2 cents on that, if anybody would like to hear that on the PlayStation Stars side of things. All right, so that's everything I have to say on PlayStation Stars. The last bit of news, I just have a placeholder for Nintendo Switch 2. Just want to mention that console is coming out June 5th, 2025, a day that I am waiting for, counting down the days, and I bet you are too. The big game releases I'm looking most forward to for the launch of the console would be Mario Kart World on June 5th, Tony Hawk 3+4 coming on June 11th. That one's on Switch 1 and all the other platforms too, but just something I want to play on the Switch 2. And then DK, Donkey Kong Bonanza, comes out July 17th. So going to be an extremely exciting month of video games and rest of the year, really. So super exciting to have a new console coming out. Just want to have this placeholder here for Nintendo Switch 2, just to have a placeholder for all the excitement. So super excited for that. Hopefully, I think GameStop's doing midnight releases. So it might be, you might catch me out there at midnight trying to go get one of these consoles. You never know. I'm trying to pre-order that console a couple weeks ago at midnight. I was up till almost 4 a.m. Definitely threw off my sleep schedule here for an old guy for a while. I don't know if I've ever had that happen to that degree, but I might be down to sign up for that again. So we will see. I'm excited for the Nintendo Switch 2, and that's coming out in a very, very short time on June 5th, 2025. So that is everything I have for you for the midsection of the show this week. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about Helldivers 2. We talked about Sea of Stars, Onimusha 2, Samurai's Destiny, Monster Train 2, Fortnite, Borderlands 4, Stellar Blade, Senua Saga, Hellblade 2, Cyberpunk 2077, Avowed, Naughty Dog, the Xbox May update, PlayStation Stars, and we talked about the Nintendo Switch 2. So thank you for listening to all the video game news, all my video game thoughts for the week, but we still have one final section of the show to go. So we're going to take one final break. We're going to come back from the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. I'm going to tell you about what's going on with my favorite sports team. So listen to this music and come right back. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 130, the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports and keep you up to date with what's going on with all my favorite teams. And I only really have one team to update you on this week because all my other teams are in the offseason. But quickly, the Carolina Panthers are in the offseason. The only things to really remember with them are the preseason begins August 8th, 2025 versus Cleveland, and the regular season begins Sunday, September 7th, 2025 at Jacksonville. So just a couple dates there I want to keep track of for the Panthers. The Charlotte Hornets are in the offseason. The Atlanta Hawks are in the offseason. The NBA playoffs are going on, and I've been a little bit tuned out on the playoffs since the Hawks flamed out in the play-in. So not too much going on with the NBA. I'll be excited to see what both of my teams do in the offseason. I'm a halfway fan of the Hornets and a all-the-way fan of the Hawks, so I think both of these teams have some moves to make over the offseason, and I am also a little unsure on what type of moves they are going to make. So interested to see that, and I'll keep you up to date on the show as well. But the main team that's been out there balling this week and I've been enjoying watching are the Atlanta Braves, my favorite baseball team in the universe, and I guess my favorite team in the universe. So since last week, last Sunday at Boston, the Braves won 10-4 to close out the week last week. Monday they had an actual off day, which is nice because the Braves have been going super hard recently. Tuesday at Washington, the Braves lost 3-5, but the good news to report there was the great Spencer Strider was back on the mound. So did not get the win, but it was nice to see the Braves ace back out there playing. This has been his second try at playing this year, so he started off injured, came back, got back put on the injured list for a little bit, and now is back. So I hope that he can pitch the rest of the season in full health, and that would be extremely ideal to me and the Braves franchise and the fan base as a whole. So welcome back to the team, KK Strider, as I like to call him, Mr. KK Slider. All right, so Wednesday at Washington, the game got postponed due to rain. It's a very sad day there. This game has been rescheduled for September 16th, 2025 as part of a split doubleheader. So double baseball to watch on September 16th, which is nice. And then Thursday at Washington, the Braves lost 7-8 in 10 innings. So the Nationals have been a little bit better. They've been a little more feisty than I anticipated, and maybe other people did as well. So the NL East is out here, just having some great teams going on, minus the Mets. All right, so Friday versus San Diego. The Braves lost 1-2, but the single best bit of baseball news I can report this year so far is the return of Ronald Acuna Jr. back to the Braves lineup and his first pitch back. So he's hitting leadoff. The first pitch he gets thrown, blast it to center field, out of the park, goes crazy. He does the Ja Morant great grenade celebration, and it's just back rolling. He throws somebody out, has a great game. And so just extremely nice to see Ronald back, my favorite player in the universe, and I can't wait to watch him play all season long. Another one I hope full health for the rest of the season would be ideal, and that is what I'm extremely hopeful for. So two of my favorite guys, Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna Jr. back for the Braves, and I hope they can play the rest of the season and stay healthy and ball the heck out. So they when the Braves brought Ronald up, they didn't have to, but they designated for assignment Orlando Arcia. So a little bit sad to see there, but the production has been slumping, and I don't think it's completely surprising, but a little bit of a fall for grace for the Braves for Orlando. He was an all-star 2 years ago, had a great run with them, so I'm definitely thankful for all his services. I just don't know. I don't know how old Orlando is, but I just a little bit sad there to see him get DFA'd, but I guess not surprising. And to get Ronnie back in the lineup, you got to make some moves out here, and Ronald has come back with a vengeance. So it's been extremely nice to see that. So the Braves actually did win last night. So Saturday night versus San Diego, the Braves won 7-1, put a beat down on the Padres, and Ronnie bombed on them again. So I did not get to watch too much of this game. I was doing some traveling around, but I am happy to see that Ronald is 2 for 2 now with bombs on the way back, and hopefully can get another one today. So the Braves today are playing a little bit later in the afternoon, 4:10 p.m. versus San Diego. So a couple hours away if you're listening in real time or recording this podcast in real time like me. So hopefully the Braves will get a win, and that has been nice. So I'm recording this podcast a little bit later today, and I guess that is because the Braves are on a little bit later. I didn't have to rush too much, so I could be fully ready to view the game and watch a dub, watch my favorite player in the universe, Ronald Acuna Jr., ball out. So next week the Braves have no game on Monday. They are at Philadelphia for 3, and then at home in Atlanta for 3 versus Boston. So a strong week of opponents there, and I'll be excited to watch it as always. So the other bit of MLB news in general is NBC is bidding to take over Sunday Night Baseball from ESPN. So that will be the end of an era for sure, because they've been holding it down. I've been watching Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN for a long time, but Moving over to ESPN, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of these type of changes in the future with networks and opening the bidding up and seeing different games and different things on different platforms. And it's a little bit annoying to me. And I guess it's going to continue to be annoying as things go in the future is how it seems. But a little bit of overall MLB news to report there. And that is really everything I have for you on the sports front this week. So we talked about the Carolina Panthers, the Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Atlanta Braves who are playing today against the Padres. So go Braves, go Ronald, and go KK Strider. So that's actually everything I have for you for the Miscellaneous Talk section, short and sweet. And that's everything I have for you for the entire show this week. So thank you so much for listening. I'd like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available. If you would like to subscribe monthly, also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. Just thank you so much for being a listener. I hope you have a great week out there in the world. I hope some good things happen to you. I hope you have some time off of work. I hope you win the lottery. I hope you get a new video game. I hope you get to see a cool dog. I hope you get to hang out with your friends. I hope you win a contest. I hope you go out dancing. I hope you go see a sports event. And I hope you cheer for the Atlanta Braves because they're the best team in the universe. And I hope you come back for another episode of the Dep Lewis Show next week because that's where I'll be. Thank you for listening to all of my video game talk. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I will be excited to do it again next week. So I will talk to you then. Goodbye.